Good evening, everyone. We are here again with our next series in the chain of secrets of financial freedom, Indian middle class context. And today's topic is going to be importance of asset allocation. Just to brief you, what we have learned in the last session is we have learned about assets, liabilities, and what is the net worth. If you remember, this presentation is solely focused towards the Indian middle class scenario, and just because we don't have enough financial knowledge from the childhood, because it is not taught in our curriculum, we wanted to highlight the basics of asset allocation, basics of assets, basics of finances planning before we move to the other topics. Okay. Asset allocation is an important subject in terms of financial planning, and it makes your you secure and makes you not risk free but risk averse. Okay. Yeah, let's get into the topic. So just to brief you about what is asset allocation. See, we have gone through in the last topic that asset may not increase its value over a period of time, or it might increase value over a period of time. A good investment, an investment is an asset which grows over a period of time, right? Now, many assets are there which grow over a period of time, right? Will everyone grow at the same rate? If why do they grow at different rates? Say, for example, FDs. FDs grow at almost 5% these days. Am I right? So let's take these asset classes. Okay, we have heard about these asset classes. Say, for example, house, land, real estate. Okay, traditionally, real estate grows at around 8 to 9%, and gold is growing around 11% from the past 25 years. But it's a lot of there is a lot of variation. And now bonds, stocks, FDs, mutual funds. FDs grow at a rate of 5% maybe. At the same time, bonds grow at the rate of 7 to 8%. Mutual funds might offer you around 10% to more than to 20% also, given conditions. And stocks might offer higher returns than any other things. There are other assets as well wherein people invest, like options, futures. These are all equity class, options, futures, and then the commodity trading and all. The forex trading is also there. But as a context of middle class, I think we wanted to keep those subjects away at this point of time, unless you want to specifically learn. Okay. Now, given these many aspects, where do you invest your money? Right? Important thing is, we cannot invest your entire money in at one place. Okay. Why we cannot put it is, there are two problems. It might not grow at an interest rate which you are thinking of, right? Say, for example, your entire money you kept it in FDs, okay, maybe RDs. Okay, I was speaking to a guy today. What he does is, when I'll just tell you an example. He invests in Sukanya Samruddhi every year. Okay, he says that he invests around 60,000 rupees per annum. Okay, Sukanya Samruddhi is a scheme which actually is for a girl kid, started by 2014 government, I suppose, wherein you invest from the age of X, the child age, to 14 years of a child age. Okay, and then you keep quiet for 7 years. You don't invest. It's a dying period. After 7 years, they'll give you money back. Here, what this guy does is, instead of investing 60,000 or instead of investing 5,000 every month in the Sukanya Samruddhi directly, he invests in RDs. Okay, he says that he is investing in RDs where he is getting around 3 to 4%, and then at the end of the year he is getting he is investing the total amount which he gets from that RD to the Sukanya Samruddhi. Is it the right thing to do? Think of it. Okay, Sukanya Samruddhi's government has committed that if the amount is there in the bank before 10th of every month, they will pay you the interest for that month. At the same time, Sukanya Samruddhi's the returns are almost 7.7 and above, maybe 7.9% at this point of time. But in case of RDs, it is not even 4%, maybe up to 5%. So the decision he took, why he took the decision? The problem is Sukanya Samruddhi doesn't have a auto debit facility, or he doesn't know. So just because he didn't explore this option, maybe he is investing in from past 6 years, he would have lost a lot of money in that investment, right? So it is very important for us to decide in which asset class we invest, whether we are getting a good return or not. Will we be financially secure in future, right? Let's take one example. We hear the statement everywhere, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Okay, what does that mean? Say for example, you have, so just physically if you have to say, then if all the eggs are put in one basket and by any chance this basket blows up or puts down, is put down, then all your eggs will be broken, right? Those eggs can be your FDs. Okay, those eggs can be, say for example, tomorrow, say for example, an individual puts everything in the FDs. Say bank has reduced their FDs from 7 to 8% to 5%. One of my uncle who was in central bank and retired, he was complaining that he used to get 600 rupees for every lakh he invested in. Now it is coming down to around 500, 400. Just because he has put in every money there, he is very scared if what if government comes up with a plan and reduces the FD rates again. Okay, this is the problem there. Then another kind of thing which we do is we invest everything in the real estate. Is that the real thing to do? Is everything we invest in real estate is that we take huge loan, huge mortgages, and invest this in the real estates as lands or plots or something. Okay, one of my friend also has done this from long time. Few of their plots are being occupied. Few of their plots, which he thought that he will sell it off at the right time when he retires, actually was being acquired by somebody. Now it is the court case is filed. The problem is now he is not able to manage that money, at least to fight that case. Okay, that is a problem with the asset allocation. Okay, if you are putting all the baskets in one egg, definitely we are going to be in a great danger if something happens to us. Okay, now, so I wanted to show you the first slide again. See, asset allocation is an investment process. It's a thought process which makes to keep your risk and return at a balance. Okay, so we understood about returns now. Okay, if say the returns are FDs we thought 5%, and then we thought the stock equities are giving 6%. Okay, how does that work? I just have a slide for you. I'll just jump there. Okay, you just see this. Okay, there is a standard plot. Okay, there is a standard plot which is being plotted between risk and the potential reward. Okay, if it is cash which is lying in your bank or at your hand, okay, the risk of losing it is very less, unless you have some other dangers of theft and all. Otherwise, cash is a standard element. And what is the reward? What is the reward we get it for cash? Do you earn any interest there? No, mostly. Even if you are keeping in your savings account, I think that is not even 2-3%, maybe 2.5%. And just if you increase, if you see the next one, even short-term bonds, in the sense the bonds are, issued by government of India, or, you can say that, core bonds or short-term bonds are government of India, or as long-term bonds are issued by big companies like Reliance, Tatas and all, wherein they take loan, they take debt from you. Okay. There they say that, interest rate is fixed. Okay. They are little bit more riskier than this, because if they bankrupt, then you are not promised any money. That is what is happening with Reliance now. Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group is not paying the interest rate which they promised. So in those cases, the risk is little bit higher. At the same time, reward is also a little bit higher. So the returns are not just like 2.5% in cash. They'll be more than cash at around maybe 8%, 7%, depends. If it is a government bond, 6.5%, etc. Okay. So these two are government and private bonds. Okay. There are some high yield bond funds also. Okay. Which are at a higher rate. Okay. And then their risk is also higher compared to them. High yield bonds are generally given by people who are looking for more debt. Okay. We'll explain you what is bond, how it works in the later things. But still, you just think that, the more risk it is, you analyze, then the equity comes in. Equity is, the equity market, stock market, mutual funds, and then stocks. Mutual funds are less riskier than stocks, because not all, but few, because mutual funds diversify themselves. Their core concept is to diversify and put it in different companies. But if you put it in a single stock, in such case, there is a more, they are more riskier than mutual funds. So you see the graph here. Okay. It's, if the more it is, the risk grows and the reward grows. Right? When the risk grows, the reward also grows. At the same time, when the risk grows, see here, at the same time, when the risk grows, the reward grows, but the problem is the chance of losing the money is there. Okay. That is the reason we need to crack a balance. Okay. And the risk also has another element called time period. Okay. Time period means, if, say, for example, equity stocks or mutual funds, okay, you might have heard this statement: if you have invested 1 lakh in Maruti stock in 1992, just 1 lakh in Maruti stock in 1992, it would have gone to 1 crore in 2017. Okay, 1 crore. Okay, maybe no asset class can give you that kind of return, but Maruti stock has given that. Maybe Eicher Motors you have heard, maybe MRF you have heard. Just check the share prices of them, how they have grown. But the problem is, how do you identify them? It maybe, they are riskier. All the stocks might not grow to that strongly in the future. In the future. But there is a small thing, is that the more the investment horizon is, the chance of variance is lesser. So risk also decreases with an investment period, especially in terms of equity. Okay. But now our job is to identify which stocks to, which assets to invest in, and what kind of risk you take is a big thing for us. Okay. Just a moment. Now, I'll just, I wanted to show you also, I told you that, the time period is also important factor when you are actually making an asset allocation risk profiling. Okay. It is very common that if you are at the young age, okay, in 20s, 30s, 40s, say, for example, you have invested in a company called Tata Motors. Okay. Just for example, I'm telling you, Tata Motors is not doing good from the past 2 years. Okay. Maybe because of after acquisition of Jaguar, the stock has actually, had a lot of debt. The company has a lot of debt. So they have struggled a lot. Okay. But still, we don't know whether Tata will remain at this place for the longer time. Maybe not. Maybe they'll grow more. But say, for example, if you're in 60s and 70s, you think that, if there is a lot of variation in terms of stock prices, then you say that, we should keep it away. But when you are at the risk, because you might require money immediately when you are in 60s and 70s. But when you are in case of 20s and 30s and 40s, you still have some time in your hand, right? You still have some time in your hand so that you can wait, and then by that time the asset can actually grow. If you see the graph here, you see the first pie chart. This pie chart, if you see, sorry, first pie chart, here equity and fixed income. I have compared only two things as of now. I have kept other assets differently because anyway middle class invests in gold and house, whether you say or not. Okay. Equities and fixed income. Fixed income is which can give you fixed income like FDs or systematic withdrawal plans, those kind of things, wherein the payouts are promised. Okay. In case of SWPs also, they are not promised, but still, if it is a longer horizon, then it is good. So here you see, if you are at a younger age, your exposure to fixed income is lesser compared to equities. So you can take more risk. If you grow and grow, and if you become around 70, then your exposure to fixed income is higher compared to the equities. So three factors: one, risk; two, reward; three, how do you identify that risk and at what stage of life you are. These things are very important when you are assessing your assets, where to invest, where not to invest, etc. Okay. Now I'll go back to the little bit of theory, maybe a little bit of boring thing, but I'll just wipe it up quickly. Okay. I have told you most of the things already. Now, how do you find the right asset allocation? See, asset allocation is not a formula. Okay. Asset allocation, as I told you, I cannot tell you you invest 20% in fixed assets, 30% in equity, another 30% in gold, another 20% in real estate. You cannot do that. It's not a generic formula. We need to assess your age, your income, your expenses, how many people are dependent on you, what is the industry type you are working for, how secure you are, okay, and what is the existing asset and what are the liabilities you have. Say, I'll tell you a simple example. Okay. See, if you own, say for example, if you own or your dad owns two buildings where a rent is promised. Okay. Maybe you are at the age of 40 or 45, say for example. Okay. Now, if the rent is around 50,000 per month, which you are getting constantly, and maybe you need not spend much amount on that building at this point of time because it's a recently constructed building. Now, if you have 50,000 rupees, constant income monthly, maybe you don't think of retirement planning. Am I right? Maybe you feel that you are secure anyway, you are getting your money. In that case, you can be more riskier. You can opt for more riskier assets compared to if the person doesn't have these kind of assets. It can be different. And working industry type, if you're a government employee, say for example, you are still having a pension plan, say for example, then your constant pension is there to take care of your retirements. Okay. But in case of other working class, definitely you might have to think of your retirements. Then your assets, if you have to accumulate that kind of amount at the age of 60, now we have to see at what age you are. Depending upon that age, we need to invest in right assets. Now, say for example, even if you invest, say 10,000 rupees in today, you kept it in your saving account. Say you kept around 1 lakh and thought that your retirement will be taken care. Even inflation also cannot be beaten with this amount. Understood, right? That's how these age, income, expenses, working industry, assets and liabilities, and risk category, you need to decide, you need to write down yourself first, and then think of investing in which classes. But definitely don't put all your eggs in one classes. I have seen so many people investing in only stocks, especially if you have seen Kingfisher stock, because I started from that age. I know so many people have invested in Kingfisher in the beginning, then they earned double return, triple return, and now they thought that they will take some loan of 5 lakhs and invest in Kingfisher, and the next month they can get around 10 lakhs and pay off their loans and all. The problem is Kingfisher bankrupted, Vijay Mallya escaped, and now these guys have sold their lands and have to settle the dues. But there are some people who lost their money, but they are not worried because they know their appetite. They have done their calculation of the risk. That is how risk asset allocation work. Okay. Okay. So I already explained you this. Your age is one of the biggest factors. Your present income, industry you are working, existing assets, liabilities, future cash flows. Okay. These are all things will help you a lot. Okay. What is the first? See, now that you have a brief idea of what is asset allocation, what is risk, what is return, what are that we have to do it now. Okay, the first step is, I told you already, take your pen and paper. Okay, if you are at a very young age, then maybe you don't have any assets, and good thing is you don't have any liabilities. Okay, but at any point of time in your life, put down your assets, put down your liabilities, and assess. If you stop working today, will you be able to survive? If you have to stop working, when is that going to come? So put your assets, put your income from these assets. This will help you determine your future asset allocation. Just understand, we understood that phone is not an asset. Okay, though it's an asset, it's not a growing asset. So don't think that we buy a 1 lakh phone in 50,000 rupees in Amazon and then feel ourselves very good and then think that this investment will grow to 2 lakhs. Never. The moment you buy it from Amazon, the moment the delivery guy delivers you, the value reduces by 30%. Okay. Expenses, these are all expenses. These are all not assets. Maybe you get, if you sell it off, maybe you get around 10% or 20% or 50%, maybe depending upon the age. But otherwise, it's a risky asset. So you need to first understand what is asset and what is liability, and then only you have to do this. Okay. Now, next thing is you put on all your liabilities, loans, borrowed, anything, everything you keep it at one place. And then you think of your investment horizon. Okay, what is your investment horizon? Where can you how many days you can hold on? How important it will be for you to withdraw money? These all things you have to assess. Then only it will be easier for you to decide. Okay, and then each goal is important. Okay, we will talk about financial planning in the next class for sure, before talking about insurance. But here, you need to decide your goals. Financial goals are like any other goal. What do you want to do? Say, for example, as an individual, say, for example, I have 2 kids. Okay, me, my wife, and I have 2 kids. And basically, I'll think of retirement because I am going to retire and I'm not a government employee. 2, I'll think of my kids' education. Definitely, kids' education is an important part. 3, I'll think of my kids' marriage. Maybe Indian mid class will always spend on marriages. Whether you give as cash or maybe in the future they will give it as assets or maybe stocks, we don't know. But definitely, marriage is going to be a big thing for Indian mid class. Okay, those kind of things at least I'll take care, and I'll then think of health. Maybe health. Even though I take health insurance, I still have some amount left for my health backups kind of thing because it might grow. So these kind of things are the goals. Each one will have a different goal. Each one will have different time horizon. You have to write it down on your paper. Next week, we will have a template. Then I'll explain you one person's overall goals and how you can make a financial planning. Okay. Here, risk profile is also important. I told you. Risk profile is how danger you are, what kind of danger you are in. What if another COVID comes in? Can you survive? What if the whole stock market cracks? Can we survive? What if the gold goes to 20,000 rupees? Can we survive? Am I right? What if, the what if question has to come to your mind. That is called the complete risk profiling. Okay. Then basic things, they are not in the asset allocation, but anywhere. Always start your investments early. The longer the horizon, the more are the returns. I explained you in the first class, if you remember. Okay. Another one, always work on increasing your present income, which will help you to keep investing. It might not be possible for everyone, but still you cannot lose your income and then think of savings. So you need to accumulate assets which can actually generate income, and then those income you have to invest, and then that investment should give returns, and then that returns should be put in investments. That cycle should go on, right? And then try to focus on passive incomes. Don't just depends upon, like, the way what we discussed about asset allocation. If you can get multiple incomes, like rental incomes, if you have houses, rental income, and if you have stocks, dividend income, if you have, any hobby like painting and all, can you get some income from there? Try to focus on small passive incomes if you are a salaried class. Then maybe 10,000, 5,000 per month also will have a lot of value, because those things you can put on investments. And avoid unnecessary loans. We'll have a big class about this. There is a nice article which people have forwarded me. I'll put it in this one also. See, avoid unnecessary loans. Loans are a trap. You have to know that. Okay. I'll tell you a simple example. A mid-class mentality is, first we will start earning, and then we think that we need a bike to go on. For sure, yes, we need a bike. And then we take a loan and buy a bike. And one day you drench in rain and come back and think that, no, I don't think I have to take this pain. I'll buy a car. Okay. Now that you have to buy a car, you need more money. What will you do with more money? Then again, you will think of earning more. Thinking of earning more is good enough, but the problem here is, if you start the moment, the middle class, the moment they start thinking of earning more money, they have 10% more focus on spending it. In the sense, if you have planned to earn 10,000 from next month, you have seen so many people, I'm sure, that they have 15,000 spendings every month. So they'll think that they go to a car showroom and they just increase their budget by another 5,000, because they think that, no, I'm already getting another 10,000 extra. So another 5,000 will go for that. So you see that whatever you have earned has gone into the expense. And then just after 1 year, you realize that, no, this car is not sufficient. I have 2 kids now. Maybe I need bigger one. Okay. And then you go to this, you return this car, get some basic amount. You think that, I don't have to pay anything, right? You return this car and take another 10 lakhs loan, and then buy another bigger car, and then pay for it another 6 months. You know what you are doing here? What we are doing here, I am also doing the same thing, maybe for a long time. We are actually earning for 2 people. Okay, one is for ourselves for sure, and one is for banks. That's it. Okay, we are earning for 2 people. One for ourselves, we are surviving, yes, and one for banks. And banks are actually earning. Okay, track your expenses. Your inflation is different and from national inflation. You have to understand this. National inflation grows at 5%. But you are, as an Indian mid-class guys, our inflation is much higher. We cannot think that our expenses are 5% more. Maybe one kid adds on to your life. Maybe your expenses are increased by 10%. You know the diaper cost itself are around 2 to 3,000 per month. Yes, it's a fact. You have to understand that. Now, the last one, never put all your eggs in one basket. We already told many times. And then the next week, we take a topic of health insurance, term insurance, vehicle insurance, and every kind of insurance which is there in the market. Most of the people think that I don't need insurance. Or most of the people think that 3 lakhs is enough, 4 lakhs is enough, 1 lakh is enough, and whatever we put is a waste of money. We come to the topic next week. Okay. Then what we say is, another important subject I wanted to highlight before I close off is, most of the people think that we can take more and more loans and then also invest together. You need to understand that, except house loan, because house loan is an asset for you, and it will grow in terms of Indian market. It's not like a US where it grows at 3%. In India, whatever you say, the housing grows at around 7 to 8%, and some it has grown around 11% also. So even if you pay for a house loan, maybe which you are staying in, because it's a good thing for you, that's okay. But paying a mobile EMI per month and then invest with an interest, and then investing in any other asset, it's a waste strategy. Close off your loans first. Investment and debts cannot go hand in hand. You must have to think of your debt closures before getting into investments. Okay. Now, there is no asset allocation formula as such, I told you. So you need to make a habit of changing it regularly from age to age, from time to time. And then you make any time, once you grow to a bigger will, make a will, at least make a will where you write down your investments. Okay. We have an app where you can track all your expenses. There are thousands of apps in the market. Put all expenses, all investments at one place. Okay. Keep inform your investments with family members. You tell people, okay, I don't even know that my dad had an insurance from Andhra Bank. I came to know only after 3 years when Andhra Bank manager has told me. I didn't even claim. But now I think, I thought that, we'll put everything in one place. Okay. Plan for your retirement. It is going to come. Don't think like a middle class that anyway we are going to die one day, and who knows whether we live for 30 or 40, we live for 60 years or not. We are going to live. Only one of them is going to die. But we are going to live, and we have to really live at that point of time. So plan for retirement. Okay. That is what we had for today's class. So I hope you enjoyed the class. So the conclusion is, you don't put all your investments in one thing, but still you need to plan your goals and then take a little bit of risk. We will understand about the risk involved actually, and then we have to get the more rewards. Okay. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can go ahead. Any questions? Okay. If there are no questions, then thanks for joining. We love you, and I know we love you that you are part of this journey, and I'm pretty sure that within next few sessions we will start thinking of what is financial planning, what kind of investments you require in the future sessions. Okay. Thanks again. We'll join you for the next session on next Saturday. Or if not, if it is a Dashara, then I think we'll join it in the next week. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.